Imagine waking up tomorrow and every supermarket on Earth has disappeared. No fridge, no food delivery, no bread in the kitchen, no restaurant, no Google to look anything up. You're hungry. Now imagine that's not one bad day. That's your entire life. And for thousands of generations, humans had to solve some version of that problem. So if you woke up 50,000 years ago, what would you actually eat? If you had to find your own breakfast tomorrow morning, what would you look for first? Fruit, fish, an animal, roots, nuts? Pick one, right now. What are you eating? Because there's a problem with every answer. If there's no supermarket, where do you even start? Imagine you're standing at the edge of a forest, hungry, with no idea what's safe to eat. You see hundreds of plants. Some are food, some really aren't. And you don't have a search bar. What someone could eat depended heavily on where they lived: forest, grassland, coastline, desert. There was never one single ancient human diet. So how did people figure out what was safe? Not through random guessing. That would have ended badly, fast. Knowledge could be passed from one generation to the next: which plants to eat, which season to find them in, how to prepare them safely. People learned largely through observation, experience, and careful teaching. We can't know exactly how every food tradition began, but it wasn't luck. It was accumulated knowledge carried forward. But finding food was only half the problem. What happens when the food can run away? You follow tracks for hours, nothing. You keep walking, still nothing. And suddenly you realize you're going home hungry, and tomorrow isn't guaranteed to be better. So hunting wasn't the whole food strategy. Hunting took cooperation, deep knowledge of animal behavior, tools, and a real willingness to fail. It wasn't a guaranteed meal, and not every ancient population relied on hunting large animals the same way. So what did people eat when hunting failed? If you lived near the coast, your menu could look completely different. For some coastal populations, shellfish and other marine resources became important parts of the diet. Inland, it might be nuts, seeds, roots, tubers, wild fruit, eggs, or small animals, whatever the local environment actually offered. What would your ancient menu even look like? Then imagine discovering something that changes the entire equation: fire. Fire didn't just make food warmer. It changed what humans could do with food. Cooking could soften food, make it easier to chew, and help the body process certain foods more efficiently. Researchers have proposed that cooking may have played a real role in human evolution, though exactly how big that role was is still debated. But food wasn't only about calories. Picture a group around a fire. Someone prepares the food. People talk. Kids watch. Someone tells a story mid-meal. You can eat dinner alone tonight, scrolling a screen without looking up once. For many human communities, eating was also social. Food wasn't just something you consumed, it could also be something you shared. Now look at the food sitting in your kitchen right now. How many people had to work before it got there? Farmers, transport workers, shop workers, refrigeration, packaging. Here's the twist. Ancient humans didn't just need calories. They needed an enormous amount of environmental and cultural knowledge, carried inside their own heads. We've moved much of that knowledge out of our individual lives and into systems. Ancient human: is this plant safe? Modern human: what's the expiry date? The knowledge didn't disappear. It moved. Remember that imaginary morning when every supermarket disappeared? You're standing in your kitchen. The fridge is empty. Your phone can't order anything. Nothing is coming. Now imagine that isn't a disaster. Imagine that's simply normal. That's the world our ancestors knew. The strange part isn't that they somehow survived without supermarkets. The strange part is how much they had to know just to eat. Ancient humans had to understand their environment to eat. We just have to understand the menu. If every supermarket disappeared tomorrow, what's one food you think you could actually find or make yourself? And don't say water. Tell me in the comments. Subscribe to Good Enough Brain for more things about everyday life that humans had to figure out the hard way.